today is some simple 3D letter shapes, which can be useful if you're doing a title for a sketchbook page, or if you're doing some decorative writing on the front of your sketchbook. So I've got several different pencils here. I've got some pencils and some fine liners, just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm going to try and use today. I've got just a normal HB pencil. I've got a series of fine liners, and I've got a slightly thicker Beryl pen, which I'm going to use later on to do the outlines. Okay, so just kind of getting an idea about simple letter shapes is quite a tricky thing to do, I suppose. Obviously you're going to need to have a little bit of a practice maybe on some other paper before you do the actual thing. But I'm going to start with the best letter of the alphabet, which is A. So I'm going to start with just sort of outlining where I want my letter to go. This is a little bit larger than I would usually do, but just to kind of give you a bit of an idea about how I might go ahead doing it. So I'm just sort of lightly outlining. I'm not worrying too much about the straightness of the edges. In fact, sometimes the edges can be a little bit wobbly and still be all right. So I'm just going to do that to begin with. That's probably about as much as I want to do with just my normal pencil. So I'm now going to go with my next fine liner, and I'm going to just outline some of those edges like so, just so I know where it's going to go on the page. I can rub out my pencil lines later on if I'm not too happy with where they're going to go. Now the 3D element isn't going to be accurate. It's going to be a bit more sort of comical, I suppose. This fine line is running out, of course. And so is that one. Brilliant. Oh, I'll use this one. It's slightly thicker. That's fine. Like so. So now I'm a little bit happy about where that's going to go. I'm going to decide whereabouts the 3D element is going to go on my page. So I'm going to do it sort of coming off from this side, I think. So I'm going to use the corners of my letter to start drawing some lines like this. Okay. Now you might want to do this with pencil, okay, if you're not too happy with it. But each of these lines is going to be sort of similar, each going to the corners of my letter form, like so. They're all the same angle, like so, okay? And they've come from each of the corners. Obviously some of those are going to be from behind, so we're not necessarily going to see those, okay? So I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to decide how long and how far back I want my letter to go. I'm going to go for about here. Okay, so I'm going to draw the same line which was there, down there, and the same line here is going to go inwards, like so, from that side. Okay, and this shape here, this bit is going to be a bit more of an angle, so it's going to be the same as the other one, going down from the side, and this one, and then this line is going to be straight, so this is going to go along here at the bottom. That one I don't need to worry too much about. These ones though will need a bit at the bottom, and so will this one, and this one's sort of an inside shape, so this is going to need to go down back there, and this line is that, so that's the inside shape. Okay, I don't know how far back that's going, so I'm just going to use that line there as my kind of guide, and that's about there. Okay, so now I'm happy with where those are. I'm going to just fill those bits in with my fine liner. Okay, might be a little bit wobbly, as I said, doesn't matter too much. As I said, you could use this for a number of different techniques or things. It could be for a title for one of your artists. It could be for a title of one of your pages, or it could be for the front of your sketchbook as decoration. use it for a number of different things. So there's my 3D shape. Now what I can now do, if I want to, is I might want to go over this a bit darker. So I'm going to use my thicker fine liner there, my Beryl pen. And what I'm going to do actually is just go around the outside to start with. Like this. So the outside of all of the lines, so it looks like it's coming off from the page a little bit. So I'm just going to go a bit darker around the edges, like so. One out along the top, down the side, like this. Okay, I'm going to do this inside shape as well. Okay, like that. I think I probably need to do the outside shape of the front part of the A. So I'm going to do that as well, just so that sort of stands out. So I'm going to do this front shape, which is the original one I did at the beginning. I think I'll leave the rest if I want to do that. That's going to come up there. I'm going to leave the other shapes inside. Okay, so there's my 3D A. Now, if I want to, I can add some colour to that, or I could add some other patterns or shapes inside of it to decorate it. I'm going to do some lines to add some texture to the shading on either side. So I'm going to draw some lines kind of coming down from the top like so, and I'm going to do them coming in that way. And this is going to be a bit tricky, but these are lines sort of going up towards the top like so. They're a bit longer lines, thinner ones, doesn't matter how many, just to kind of give us a little bit of a difference between the texture at the top. And there's some kind of coming in there. So I'm not worrying too much about how many there are, it's just giving us a bit of an idea of some texture. Let's do those ones along the bottom. I'm going to leave those just not going towards the end, just sort of coming along the edge. And there's some more in the side there. And inside this one, along with the same angle, remember? Like this. And inside there. So, there's that. Obviously, if I wanted to add colour to that, or I wanted to add some texture, I probably want to rub the lines out a bit later on, just so that it looks a bit neat. But there's my 3D letter. Okay.